Well, thank you, Jane, for your really careful reading of my book and wonderful presentation of it. It almost sounds like it's worth reading.
It is.
I've often said that my favourite movie is Baz Luhrmann's version of Romeo and Juliet. I think it's so clever in the way that it takes the original script of Shakespearean English and places it into a modern setting. So feuding Italian families become rival business empires run by Italian immigrants in downtown Verona Beach, Miami. Civil brawls are fought with guns that have brand names sword and dagger. Messages are delivered by FedEx overnight couriers, and so on. Through the medium of performance, classic texts can be reimagined to give them new vitality and new meaning for new audiences. The scroll of Ecclesiastes that we're performing tonight is recognised as part of the wisdom tradition in the Old Testament, but is sometimes referred to as anti-wisdom because it includes much questioning of life's experiences. The ideas are complex, repetitive, and at times contradictory. The way it's written drives home the point that nothing under the sun is solid, because there's always a contrasting thought. A number of commentaries, including mine, read the scroll as a dialogue between different voices. And so I've chosen to present Ecclesiastes in the format of a television talk show, a conversation moderated by a host. I think most of you would be familiar with these sorts of shows. They range in content from light to serious, and are often broken up by musical items and advertisements. After breaks, the dialogue resumes, often with repetition of some of the ideas. The conversation is free-flowing, and a good host maintains interest by astutely drawing out the views of the guests and guiding the discussion. Guests are tolerated even if they have different views, and value judgments are rarely made by the host of the show. In this script, the most dominant voice has a pessimistic outlook on life. This is traditionally translated, vanity of vanities, all is vanity. So I've made this voice the keynote speaker for the talk show, and he is named in the script Coelet. But two other voices are invited in by the host: an optimist who sees that life is a gift, and a pietist who keeps God in the conversation. This is scripture after all. Although it's interesting that in this scroll it's almost always the God, an unusual way of using God's name in scripture. In the Hebrew text there's no punctuation, so there's freedom to imagine the flow of the conversation between the speakers by breaking the dialogue into questions and responses. But there are signs in the Hebrew script where pauses are to be expected. And there are 3 in this script that could be places for commercial breaks. So we've written those in. Linked to those breaks are 3 poems that stand out as different to the rest of the discussion. 2 of these will be performed as musical items by a folk group with the name Season, and the other as poetry read from a published book by Coelet himself. Feel free to show your appreciation for these special performances when you see them. Our weekly Hebrew translation group translated this scroll a couple of years ago, and hello to 2 of you who are here tonight, 3 of you who are here tonight. But it's my rather, as Jane has already pointed out, idiosyncratic translation that you'll be hearing. I have tried to follow the original Hebrew word order, and it does sound quite awkward at times, but just like Shakespearean English, I think it will be understandable. Just remember that we are hearing an ancient script, even though it's in a modern context. Unfortunately, Leonardo DiCaprio was unavailable, so Ecclesiastes is being performed by my family and friends, none of whom are professional actors, so I've not asked them to learn their many lines. We have called this show Words, which is how the biblical script opens. And apart from any advertisements, the script continues as a direct translation from the Hebrew text. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Words.
Your words, Coelet, son of David, king in Jerusalem. Dross of dross, dross of dross. All is dross. What gain for the human being in all his toil?
The one who toils under the sun. A generation goes and a generation comes, and the earth forever stands. And it rises, the sun, and back to its place it hurries. It is rising there. It goes to the south and round to the north. Around and around it goes, the wind. And over and around him comes the wind. All the rivers are going to the sea, and the sea is not full. To the place where the rivers are going, there they return to go again.
All these words are wearisome.
A man is not able to speak. Not satisfied is the eye, not filled is the ear with hearing. What is, that is what will be. What is done, that is what will be done. And not any of it is new under the sun.
There is a word of which it is said, see, this is new, this.
Already it was forever, and from before us. There is no remembrance of the first things.
And also of the last things that will be.
There will be no remembrance of them from those who are last.
Words brought to you today by Reading the Megillot, a new book by Jeanette Mathews, to be purchased here at the bargain price of $40. Coelet was king over Israel in Jerusalem.
I gave my heart to seek and explore in wisdom over all that is done under the heavens.
It is an evil task God gave to the sons of humanity to be tasked with.
I saw all the doings that were done under the sun, and look, all is dross and herding wind.
Yeah, the crooked is not able to be straight. The deficient is not able to be numbered.
I spoke, I did, on my heart, saying, look, I was made great. I added much wisdom over all who were before me in Jerusalem. And my heart saw much wisdom and knowledge. And I gave my heart to the knowing of wisdom, and to the knowing of silliness and folly. And I knew also that this is herding wind.
Because in much wisdom is much vexation, and those who add knowledge are those who add pain.
Well, I said, I did, in my heart, go now. Let me test pleasure, and let me see good. But look, also this is dross. For laughter, I said, madness. And for pleasure, what is this doing? I explored in my heart to stimulate with wine my flesh, and my heart is guided with wisdom. And yet, holding on to folly until I see.
So what it is then good for the sons of humanity to do under the heavens for the number of days of their lives?
Well, I made great my works. I built for myself houses, and I planted for myself vineyards. I made for myself gardens and paradises, and planted in them trees of all fruits. I made for myself a blessing of waters, to make drink from them a forest of sprouting trees. I purchased slaves and maidservants, and the sons of the houses were for me. Also purchase of cattle and sheep, many there were for me.
Yeah, more than all who were before in Jerusalem.
I gathered for myself also silver and gold, and the treasure of kings and provinces. I made for myself tenors and sopranos, and delightful things for the sons of humanity, even concubines. And I was great, and yes, I added more than all who were before me in Jerusalem. Indeed, my wisdom stood before me, and all of which they asked me, my eyes, that is, I did not keep from them. I did not withhold my heart from any pleasure, for my heart was pleased from all my toil.
This was the reward.
From all my toil I turned and faced myself. All my doings that my hands had done, and all the toil which I had toiled to do. And look, all this is dross and hurting wind.
So, and not anything has advantage under the sun?
I turned and faced myself to see wisdom and silliness and folly. For what is the human being who comes after the king? He can only do what has already been done. And I saw, I myself, that there is advantage in wisdom over folly, like the advantage of the light over the dark. The wise have eyes in their heads, and the fools in darkness are walking. And yet I know also, that one fate is fated for them all. And I said, I myself in my heart, the fate of the fool, also it will be my fate. And why am I wise? I myself even more. And I spoke in my heart that also this is dross, for there is not any remembrance for the wise, as with the fool.
Forever?
Already in the coming days all is forgotten. And how will he die, the wise together with the fool? And I hated life, for evil over me was the doing that was being done under the sun. For all is dross and hurting winds, and I hated all the toil which I toiled under the sun.
What will be left for the human being who's after me?
Who knows? Wise will he be or a fool? And who will have control over all my toil which I toiled, and my wisdom under the sun? Also, this is dross. And I turned around, I myself, to despair in my heart over all the toil which I toiled under the sun. For there is a human being whose toil in wisdom and in knowledge and in skill, and for a human being who did not toil in it, he gave his portion. Also, this is dross.
And a great evil.
For what becomes of the human being? For what becomes of the human being in all his toil, and in the striving of his heart which he toiled under the sun? For all his days are vain, and vexatious is his task. Also in the night his heart will not lie down. Yes, this is dross to him.
Nothing but good for the human being who relishes and drinks, and lets his body see good in his toil. I've seen this, I myself, that from the hand of the God is this.
Who can relish and who can enjoy more than him?
For to a human being who is good before him, the God will give wisdom and knowledge and pleasure. And for the sinner he gave a task, to gather and to collect, to give to the one who is good before the God.
This is dross and hurting wind.
For all season, a time for all matters under the heavens.
1, 2, 1, 2.
Words brought to you tonight by A Practical Christology for Pastoral Supervision, a new book by Jeff Broughton, available here tonight at the special price of $40. So, what advantage is there for the worker in what he toils?
I have seen the task which God gave to the sons of humanity to be tasked with. Everything he made beautiful in its time.
Oh, indeed. Eternity he has put in their heart, without which the human being cannot find the work which he worked, the God that is, from beginning until end.
I know that there is not any good in them, but to enjoy and to work for good in his life. And indeed, every human being who relishes and drinks and sees good in all his toil, a gift of God this is.
I know that all he works, the God that is, will be forever. Over this not any can add, and from it not any can take. And the God has worked, so let them fear before him. That which was already is, and the thing that is to be already will be. And the God seeks out the pursued.
But again, I have seen under the sun in the place of justice, there is wickedness. And in the place of righteousness, there is wickedness.
I have said, I in my heart, the righteous one and the wicked one, the God will judge. For a time, for all matters, and over all the work is there.
And I have said in my heart over the things of the sons of humanity, the God is testing them, to see that they are a beast, they themselves. For the fate of the sons of humanity and the fate of the beast is a single fate. As one dies, so the other. And as the life breath of one is for both.
And the advantage of the human being over the beast is nothing?
All is dross. All are going to a single place. All will be from the dust and return to the dust.
But who knows? The life breath of the sons of humanity is going upwards, and the life breath of the beast is going downwards to beneath the earth. And I have seen that there is not anything better, but that the human being should enjoy his work, for that is his lot. For who can bring him to see what will be after him?
I went back, I myself, and I saw all the oppression that is done under the sun, and look, the tears of the oppressed, and not any for them comfort, and from the hand of their powerful oppressors, not any for them comfort. And I thought, I myself, of the dead who have already died, better than the living who are living still, and better than both of them are those who have not even been, who would have not seen the evil doings that are done under the sun. And I have seen, I myself, all toil and all skill, deeds that are the envy of a man for his neighbour. Also, this is dross and herding wind. The fool hugs his hands and relishes his own flesh.
Better is a full fist that is quiet than 2 handfuls of toil and herding wind.
And I went back, I myself, and I saw dross under the sun. And where there is one without a pair, no son or brother for him, and no end for all his toil, also his eyes are not satisfied with his wealth.
Why? So why am I toiling and depriving my body of goodness?
This is dross, and an evil task it is.
Better are the 2 than the 1, for there is for them good wages for their toil. For if they fall, one makes his friend stand up. And alas for him who falls and has not any to make him stand. Also, if they lie down, 2 of them, and it will be warm for them. But for one, how to be warm? And if one should overpower him, the two will stand against him, and the threefold thread is not easily broken.
Better a poor lad than a wise than a king old and foolish, who does not know how to be wary still. For from the prison house he came out to reign, for also in his kingdom he was born poor.
I saw all living things that are moving under the sun alongside the second lad who will stand in his place. There is not any end to all the people, all who were before him and all who will come later, and none enjoy him. For also this is dross and hurting wind.
Guard your feet lightly when you go to the house of the God, and come near to listen when fools give a sacrifice, for not any of them are knowing how to do evil. Do not say drivel with your mouth and your heart. Let it not hasten to send out a word before the face of the God. For the God is in the heavens, and you are on the earth. Therefore let your words be few. For it comes, the dream, with many tasks, and a sound of a fool with many words. When you vow a vow before the God, don't delay in completing it. For there is no matter in fools. The thing you vow, complete it.
Yes, better to not vow than to vow and not complete it.
Do not let your mouth cause your flesh to sin, and do not say before the God that it was a mistake. Why should he be angry, the God that is, over your sound, and diss the work of your hands?
Oh, there are many dreams and much dross and many words.
The God you should fear.
If oppression of the poor and violation of justice and righteousness you see in the province, do not be astounded over the matter, for a high one over another high one is watching, and higher ones still over them. And there is an advantage in the earth in all this. A king belongs to a serviced field. One who loves silver is not satisfied with silver, and one who loves abundance has no gain. Also, this is dross.
As good things multiply, those who relish them multiply.
And what benefit for its master except what his eyes see? Sweet is the sleep of the slave, whether little or much he relishes. But for those abundant in wealth, no rest for them when he sleeps.
Yes, there is an evil illness I have seen under the sun, wealth being kept by its master for his own evil.
And that wealth is destroyed in the evil task, and he sires a son with not anything in his hand, nothing. Like as he came out of his mother's womb, naked he shall return, just as he came. And nothing will he carry from his toil that he bought with his hand. Yes, this is an evil illness. How he came, thus he goes.
And what advantage for him when he toils into the wind?
All his days in darkness he relishes, and vexation much of it, and illness, and hostility.
Look, what I have seen, I myself, is good. It is beautiful to relish and to drink and to see good things in his toil, which he toils under the sun, from the book of the number of days of his life, which he gave him, the God, that is, for this is his lot. Also, each of the human beings whom he gave, the God, that is, wealth and possessions, and his power to relish it, and to carry his lot, and to enjoy his toil. This is a gift of God. This is. For he will not much remember the days of his life, for the God will make him answer with the joy of his heart.
There is an evil which I have seen under the sun, and much of it over the human being. A man to whom God gives wealth and possessions and glory, and nothing lacking for his body, and for all which he desires for himself. But that God will not empower him to relish it. Instead, a different man will relish it. This is dross and an evil illness. If a man sighs 100 and lives many years, and many other days of his life, yet his body is not satisfied with goodness, and also a burial wasn't for him, I say, better than him is the one who miscarried. For in the dross he comes, and in the darkness he goes, and in the darkness his name is covered. Also sun he has not seen and known. More rest for this one than him.
So, although he lives 1,000 years twice over, goodness he will not see?
Is not to one place all are going? All the toil for the human being is for his mouth, and even so the flesh is not filled. For what more for the wise than the fool? What good is it for the poor to know how to walk among the living?
Oh, better an eye that discerns than a body that wanders.
Oh, also this is dross and chasing wind. What has been was already called its name, and what is known is he, a human being, and he is not able to dispute with one stronger than him. For where there are many words, much dross.
What more for the human being?
Who knows what is good for the human being in life? The few days of life of dross pass like the shadow. Indeed, who can declare for the human what will be after him under the sun? Tov Shem Mishemem Tov. A good name is better than good oil.
The day of death is better than the day of one's birth.
It is good to go to the house of drooping, better than to the house of drinking. This is the end for each human being, and the living should take this to heart. Good is vexation, better than laughter. For facing evil is good for the heart. A heart of wisdom is in a house of drooping, but a heart of foolishness is in a house of joy.
Good to hear a rebuke of wisdom, better than a man hearing a song of fools. For like the crackle of the nettle under the kettle, this is the laughter of fools. And also this is dross.
For oppression is madness for the wise, and a bribe corrupts the heart. Good is the end of something, better than its beginning. Better to be long-winded than high-spirited.
Do not be quick in your spirit to be angry, for anger in the bosom of fools lodges. Do not say what they were like, the former days, that they were better than these. For it is not wisdom you are talking about, this. Good is wisdom if it is inherited, and an advantage to anyone who sees the sun. For the shadow of wisdom is like the shadow of silver. And the advantage of understanding is that the wisdom will give life to its master.
See the work of the God. For who is able to straighten what he has made crooked?
On a good day, enjoy good.
And on an evil day, watch out.
He has made one alongside the other, the God that is. For what reason the human being cannot find out.
The whole I have seen in the days of my life of dross. There are righteous destroyed in their righteousness, and there are wicked prolonging in their evil.
Do not practice much righteousness, and do not gain much wisdom. Why devastate yourself? Do not practice much wickedness, and do not be a fool. Why die if not your time?
it is good that you hold to this. And from another as well, do not rest your hand. For he who is a God-fearer will go out from all of them. Wisdom strengthens the wise more than 10 rulers who are in the city. For there is no human being righteous on the earth who does good and does not sin.
Also, to all the words they speak, do not give your heart. Then you will not hear your servant cursing you. For also many times your heart knows that you also have cursed others. All this I have tested with wisdom, and I have said, let me be wise. Yet she is far away from me.
Far away? What is that?
And deep.
Who can find it?
I turned around, I myself and my heart, to know and to explore and to seek out wisdom and reckoning, and to know wickedness is folly, and foolishness is silliness. And I found, I myself, more bitter than death is the woman. She who snares and her heart traps, and her hands fetter.
Good is the one before the God. He will escape from her. The sinner will be captured by her.
See, this I have found.
Colette says,
one by one, to find a reckoning. This is what my body was seeking.
But did not find.
One human being in 1,000 I have found, but a woman in all these I have not found.
Except, see, I found this, that the God made the human being upright.
And they sought out many reckonings.
Who is like the wise man, and who is knowing the interpretation of a word? Wisdom in a human makes his face shine, and the grim look of his face is transformed.
The utterance of a king, obey it.
In view of the word of the oath of God, do not be afraid of him. Just walk away. Do not stand on an evil word.
All which he pleases, he does. In the word of a king is authority, and who says to him, what are you doing?
The one obeying a command will know no evil word, and time and judgment he will know, the wise heart. For all matters there is a time and judgment, for the evil that of the human being is great on him.
Not anyone knows what will be, for what will be, who can tell it? Not any human being has authority over the wind to hold back the wind, and not any has authority over the day of his death, and not any has discharge from the war, and wickedness does not deliver its master. And I have seen and given my heart to all the doings that were done under the sun. A time when a human being has authority to do harm to another human being. And I have seen the evil ones buried. They would come and go from the holy place, and they were praised in the city when they did thus. Also, this is dross. When not anything is done to sentence, the evil work quickly. Thus filled up the heart of the sons of humanity for doing evil.
Although a sinner does evil 100 times and lengthens their days, I know it will be well for the God-fearer who fears before his face. And good it will not be for the evil, and they will not be made long their days, like a shadow, those ones who are not fearing before the face of the God.
There is dross which is done on the earth. There are righteous ones, and what happens to them is like the work of the wicked. And there are wicked ones, and what happens to them is like the work of the righteous. I say also, this is dross.
I myself laud enjoyment, for there is nothing better than the human being under the sun than to relish and to drink and to rejoice. And this will accompany him in his toil all the days of his life, which the God has given to him under the sun.
Well, I gave my heart to know wisdom, and to see the task that is done on the earth. Also in the day and in the night, not any sleep was seen in my eyes. And I have seen all the works of the God, that the human being is not able to find the work that is done under the sun, which though the human being toils to seek it, he will not find it.
Although he says he wants to know it, the wise man, he is not able to find it.
I have given my heart to examine all this, that the righteous and the wise and their works are in the hands of the gods. Also love, also hatred, not any can know, any human being. All this is dross before them. There is to one all the one fate, to the righteous and to the evil, to the good and to the clean and to the unclean, and the sacrifices and those who give no sacrifice. Like the good, like the sinner, like the one swearing, like the one who refrains from swearing.
This is an evil that is done under the sun, that there is one fate for all.
So the hearts of the sons of humanity are full of evil, and silliness is in their hearts, in their lives, and after it to their death.
For the one who is joined to all living, there is a confidence. A living dog is better than a dead lion.
But the living, they know they will die. And the dead, they don't know anything. There is not any reward for them. Forgotten is their memory, also their love, also their hatred, also their jealousy is already destroyed. And they no longer have any portion forever in all that is done under the sun.
Go, relish with enjoyment your bread, and drink with a good heart your wine. For he has already accepted your works, the God that is. At all times let your clothes be white, and put oil on your head. Let there be no lack. See through life with the woman you love, all the days of your life of dross, which were given to you under the sun, all your days of dross, for this is your portion in life, and your toil which you are toiling under the sun. All that your hand finds to do, in your strength do it. For there is not any doing and reckoning and knowledge and wisdom in Sheol, which is where you are going.
Words brought to you tonight by The Logic of Love, a new book by Andrew Cameron, which you might remember from a previous book launch, but we didn't sell enough of them, ready for a bargain price of $400.
Not to the mighty
time and chance befall all. He doesn't know, the human being, that his time is like a fish that is taken out of the evil net, and like the birds caught in the trap. Like this they are snared, the sons of humanity, for the evil time that will fall on them suddenly.
I have seen this wisdom under the sun, and great it is to me. A city, a small one, and men in it few. And there came to it a king, a great one, and surrounded it and built over it siege works, great ones. And there was found in it a man, poor, wise, and he delivered the city with his wisdom.
And no human being remembers that man, that poor one. I said, I myself, better is wisdom than might, yet the wisdom of the poor is despised, and his words, not any of them are heard.
Words of wisdom, quiet ones, are heard. More than the shouting of a ruler among fools. Better is wisdom than the instruments of battle.
But one sinner destroys much good.
A dead fly makes odious the flowing oil of the perfumer. Heavier than weighty wisdom is a little foolishness. A heart of wisdom goes to his right, a heart of a fool goes to his left. And also in the road, when the fool is walking, his heart is absent. And he says to all, a fool is he.
If the wind of the ruler gets up over you, do not let your place be put to rest, for calmness will put to rest great sins.
There is evil I have seen under the sun, like the mistake that goes out before the face of power.
He was set, the fool, over many heights, and the rich in lowly places sit. I have seen slaves upon horses, and princes walking like slaves on the earth.
He who is digging a pit will fall into it, and the one breaking a wall, a snake will bite him.
He who quarries stones will be hurt by them. The one splitting trees will be endangered by them.
If the iron is blunt and has not had its edges whetted, it will need mighty strength.
And the advantage of success is wisdom.
If the snake bites before it has been charmed, there is no advantage to the master charmer.
Words in the mouth of a wise one bring favour, but lips of a foolish one swallow him.
The words of his mouth are the beginning of foolishness, and the end of his mouth is evil silliness.
Fools make many words. He does not know, the human being, what will be from after him. Who can tell it? The toil of the fools makes them weary. He does not know how to walk to a city. Alas for you, earth, when your king is a lad and your princes in the morning relish their food. And happy are you, earth, when your king is the son of nobles and your princes in the proper time relish food in strength, not in a drunken stupor. The rafter sags through double laziness, and the house leaks due to the idleness of the two hands.
For laughter is the making of bread. Wine gives joy to life, and silver answers them all.
Also in your thoughts, do not curse a king, and in your bedroom, do not curse the rich, for a bird of the heavens will make that sound walk, and a master of wings will tell the word.
Send your bread on the face of the waters, for in many days you will find it. Give a portion to 7 or even to 8, for you will not know whether there will be evil on the earth. If the clouds are full, rain on the earth will pour down. If a tree falls in the south or in the north, the place where it falls, there it will be.
And the one observing the wind will not sow, and the one looking on clouds will not reap.
Just as you know nothing of the way that the life breath enters the bones in the womb, so you do not know the work of the God who made everything.
In the morning sow your seed, and the evening do not let your hand be put to rest. for you know nothing of what will succeed, this, or whether both will be good.
And sweet is the light, good for the eyes to see the sun. For if many years he lives, the human being, in all of them, let him rejoice.
And let him remember the days of darkness, for many there will be. And all that comes is dross.
Rejoice, young man, in your laddishness, and let your heart be good to you in the days of your youth, and walk in the ways of your heart, and in the desires of your eyes.
And know that over all these, the God will bring you into judgment. And remove anger from your heart and pass over evil from your flesh.
Lad time and the prime of life are dross.
Remember the Creator in the days of your youth, until the days of evil come and the years come near when you say, "Not any to me matter."
I am now going to read from my book. Until it turns dark, the sun, and the light and the moon and the stars, and they return, the clouds, after the rain. Until the days when they trembled, the keepers of the house, and twisted are the men of valour. And they cease, the grinding women, for they are few, and darkened are the ones seeing at the windows, and closed are the doors of the souk. Low is the sound of the grinding. And he rises for the sound of the bird, but bowed down are all the daughters of song. From the heights he is afraid, and terrors in the road. It blooms, the almond, and it drags, the grasshopper, and it breaks, the desire. For going is the human being to his eternal house, and they will turn in the souk, the mourners, until it is demolished, the cord of silver, and crushed is the bowl of gold, and shattered is the pitcher on the well, and crushed is the wheel on the bore. And it returns, the dust, to the earth like it was, and the life breath returns to the God who gave it. Dross of dross, all is dross.
Not only wise, Coelet, not only one who gathers wisdom, also he teaches knowledge to many people, and weighs up and searches and orders many proverbs. And he has sought out, Coelet, to find words that mattered, and has been writing upwards words of truth.
The words of the wise are like goads, and like nails driven in, masters in collection, given by one shepherd. And further than these, my son, be warned. In the making of books there is not any end, and in much study there is a weariness of flesh.
End of words. All has been heard.
The God you must fear, and his commandments you must keep, for this is for every human being. For every deed there will be a judgment, for every hidden thing, whether good or evil.